What's up, Brito? Shade Tree Surgeon here at Bert's Barracuda, and you guys know the type of videos I make up here. Bert's Barracuda always has an insane amount of motorcycles on the floor, not just Harley Davidsons, but a lot of metric bikes, a lot of English bikes. I guess that counts as metric bikes. Anyway, they got more than just Harley Davidsons up here, that's for sure. A lot of time when I come out here to Clearwater, to Bert's Barracuda, or Black Widow down in Port Charlotte, or Bert's Black Pearl down in Fort Myers now too. But when I go down there, sometimes I'll gravitate, I'll just find the cheapest thing on the floor, because that's usually what interests me. I'm a little bit of a cheapskate. I'm always looking for a deal. I'll go find the cheapest trade-in metric bike they have. Usually here at Bert's, they almost always have a bike for under $2,000. And I'll just kind of showcase like, hey, you can get into motorcycles, you can get on two wheels for pretty damn cheap. It doesn't have to be insanely expensive. But I will say this, Bert's is still a Harley Davidson dealership. Well, Black Widow and Barracuda are. Bert's Black Pearl is actually an Indian and Triumph dealership. But more on that later when we go down to visit them in Fort Myers. Anyway, before we completely lose the plot, every once in a while I like to treat myself and I'll just come up to Bert's, and since I am allowed to ride anything on the floor, come on, there's got to be a couple perks to this. Since I'm allowed to ride anything, it's nice to just window shop and dream a little and just pick out the bikes that, while I might not be able to take them home, it's nice to sit down and dream about a couple things that are out of my price range but are still freaking awesome. First up is what we'll call the last peak Sportster, the Harley Davidson Roadster 1200. The last peak Sportster because I think that there were Sportsters that were done better than this. That doesn't mean I don't love the Roadster. I think there's a lot of really cool things about it. But if you're going to compare it to stuff like the XR 1200, then there's really no comparison, is there? The Roadster 1200, it is a little bit of a part spin bike, but it's a really cool part spin bike. It's got dual disc upside down front forks, which are straight out of the Harley Davidson Screaming Eagle catalog. It's got adjustable extra duty rear shocks, performance shocks back here, also out of the Screaming Eagle catalog. On top of this, air cleaner, also out of the Screaming Eagle catalog. It just is one of those things where you might not even have this stuff on there. You probably keep the dual front disc, but you might put, you know, Brembo brakes down there, performance machine, and you probably replace the internals at least on the upside down forks, not to mention getting rid of this and the exhaust and everything else. But I'm telling you this, all the stuff that it comes with is really neat and really cool. The fact that it was assembled like that and was on the showroom floor like that makes it a pretty cool bike. Not to mention, it just looks badass. Like I said, I think when it comes to peak Sportster, it's the last peak Sportster. This kind of was its last gasp, the last coolest Sportster you can buy before they killed the Evo Sportster and replaced it with the Sportster S and the Rev Max motor. And even though I brought up the XR 1200 as being the true peak Sportster, a lot of people would even argue with that and say, you know, Buell is actually the peak Sportster. But as far as something that actually said Sportster on it, we're going to go with the XR 1200. And as far as the last one you could ever buy straight off the showroom floor before they killed this bike, I'd definitely say it was the Roadster.
All right, let's see what this thing's made of. I've never actually ridden a Roadster before. Guess someone might say, and maybe they wouldn't be completely wrong, would be completely right, but someone might say, if you've ridden one Sportster, you've ridden every Sportster. When it comes to Evo Sportsters, like I said, there is maybe just like the smallest amount of truth to that. Ooh, I like that. But also, Evo Sportsters have taken on so many different forms, not only in the custom scene, but just directly from the factory. They have been so many different bikes, it's absolutely insane. From the 72, the 48, the Sportster Roadster, the XR 1200. The fact that Harley Davidson themselves has used the Sportster as a blank canvas to create so many different models is a testament to this bike in general. Oh yeah, this would be a good base, man. It definitely feels like it's got a lot more pep in its step than a normal Sportster. And that could be attributed to the high flow air cleaner and the pipes. It has, a stage 1 kit on it, or is that a stage 2? I'm not really sure what it is, but a 1250 kit, some cams, some good tuning, you could really wake this thing up and make it a monster. It's already got the stance. I like these low handlebars. I don't feel like I'm leaning over. They work really well with the mid controls. The thing about this bike is it'd be pretty expensive for you to build it from a regular Sportster. Now, maybe when it was brand new, the sum of its parts were like, hey, you could just take a regular Sportster, add those parts on, like the upside down front forks, dual discs, the exhaust, the seat, like you could just add those parts on to like a regular Sportster and have like the same thing for a better value. But now that it's used and this thing only has 16,000 miles on it, you definitely couldn't build this bike with this many miles on it for this price. You just couldn't. If you wanted to build a sporty Sportster, oh yeah, that's all right. I like that. If you wanted to build a sporty Sportster, you could do a lot worse than this as a base because it knocks so many things right off the list immediately. Hell, you wouldn't even really have to do anything else to it. It already handles great. It's got plenty of pep in its step, but if you really wanted to just build a real, just monster back road carver, a canyon bike, something that you're just gonna slay the mountains on, but it's still got that old school feel, the lumpy potatoes down there, the ultimate of high tech on low tech, this engine that has its roots back in the past 40 plus years, but with fuel injection and ABS on top of it, to me, that's the best of both worlds. And again, if I really had to choose, it'd probably be an XR 1200, though those are getting a lot harder to find. And the prices that people are asking for them are getting pretty out of control. All of a sudden, the Roadsters, they're starting to look pretty damn good. Obviously, I'm biased, and I love Shea Lisi's, Willem Dafoe's The Green Goblin. This would be the perfect version to build the dark version of that. Like, if you like blacked out stuff instead of chrome stuff, here you go, man. I'd do the same thing. I'd put Performance Machine brakes on it, but they actually sell a contrast cut PM brake. They sell all black ones, but I really dig those contrast cut ones where just the PM logo and a few other things are kind of outlined in polished aluminum and the rest of it is shiny black. I think going with that contrast theme with the rest of the performance parts on this motorcycle would make for a really cool build. Or you could leave it just like this. There's not a damn thing wrong with it. This bike is awesome. And I know I was sitting here crowing about how I'm going to pick out the expensive bikes. I'm not going to worry about price, and this is not a very expensive bike. So I mean, it's expensive. I would say that it's still expensive to me. I think it's not a cheap bike. We'll go ahead and put it like that. This one is within my realm of affordability, but definitely not for an impulse buy, that's for sure. I'll clarify that though. I said I wasn't going to worry about price when I was picking out my 3 favorites, but that doesn't mean my favorite's going to be the most expensive bike on the lot. And this is definitely the one that caught my eye first. I like this motorcycle a lot. I know I'm always crowing about my rigid mounted Sportsters, like the pre-03 ones that didn't have the rubber mounts and carbureted and all that, but then I get on a rubber mounted fuel injected Sportster and all of a sudden I'm like, you know what, man? This is actually pretty nice, okay? I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty nice. Rubber mounting and fuel injection makes a pretty big difference, that's for sure. Makes me think that maybe one day I'll build another Dirtster, I love mine. I love ODB. It's in the name, Raw Dog, Plan B, okay? No rubber on that Sportster. But I can't lie, it is tempting to take all those parts that I have on that bike and just transfer them onto, well, the ones that can anyway, they won't all transfer, but all the ones that can transfer over to a fuel-injected, rubber-mounted Sportster. Maybe one day. And the Roadster, well, I can definitely think of worse platforms to start with. Even these upside-down front forks, if you know the right suspension, guys, it won't be a problem to turn these into long travel forks. They're just going to beat the hell out of the 39 millimeters just because there's so much more clamping area and stiffness up here, especially when you're trying to build something that's going off-road or doing some aggressive cornering. All in all of that makes this a very tempting bike, so I better get off of it. This is the problem whenever I jump on my favorite motorcycles here, is they're harder and harder for me to get off of.
Next up, once again, not the most expensive bike on the lot, but one of my 3 favorites, even though it's a hard choice between all of them, but I can never deny a police special. If it was up to me, if I really had to pick out my favorite police special bike that Harley Davidson makes, it'd probably be a Road King, which this is. I mean, it's got the Street Glide front fairing, so it technically is a Street Glide, but man, I just love the way these things are set up. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Maybe a few things you don't, a couple of extra wires here and there for sirens and everything like that. I don't know if this one ever actually saw service. It's got about 16,000 miles on it, but even if they never were actually put into service and they were just sold as a police model, they all have the little buttons for your sirens and stuff like that on there, which I'd probably just hook something else cool up to that. Nitrous comes to mind, speaking of things we don't need. Just seems like something that should be hooked up to a bright red button that says Pursuit on it. Maybe we'll change that from Pursuit to Escape if I had it, but that's just me, baby. I don't know if it's all in my head, but there's just something about this tractor seat, the way they have the handlebars set up. Something about this bike just makes me feel like I can do all those low-speed, crazy maneuvers you see the police do. If you watch my friend's channel, Phil Zilla, he does a lot of that stuff on his channel. I know I can't actually do all that stuff, but I feel like I can, and it's a pretty good feeling, so I like that. Just, the bike makes me feel competent, and I like that it's bare bones. I like that it's just this tractor seat, and you got the space back there where the cops would put their, I don't know what they keep in it, whatever they keep in that thing back there, but I probably just get one of those Amazon special aluminum top boxes and stick it on there like they put on adventure bikes. That way I could take it on and off, so I could roll like this when I'm in town, then set it up for long distance travel, because they are so damn comfortable. They kind of have to be. This is a motorcycle that's set up for a police officer to ride all day long. This is their office, so it better be comfortable, and it is.
Ex-police vehicles. I love a hood rocket. There's just something about dirty deeds done dirt cheap on something that used to enforce the law that I really like. Everybody knows that bad guys have more fun, but when you're doing it on an ex-police vehicle, it adds that extra little bit of je ne sais quoi, that sprinkle of truffle salt, the dash of bitters, just that little extra garnish of doing something illegal on a bike that was designed to stop you from doing it. It just feels very punk rock, you know? It's like back in the day. It's like, why were all the punk rock kids wearing military fatigues? And why do you always see ex-police cruisers all over the hood? It's just like something about taking all the stuff that the people who you viewed as being your opposition, taking those things and then using them for yourself. Just something titillating about that. It's the old Crown Vic blasting NWA. It's the Blues Brothers on a mission from God. It's Dukes of Hazzard jumping the ditch with the Dixie horn blaring. It's all those things all wrapped up in one, and while nowadays outlaw country's more about bootlicking and rap's about as mainstream as it gets, and punk rock, punk rock sold out a real long time ago. And as for me, well, baby, I do as I please. I don't follow any man's law. I answer to a higher power. But in the same video, I'm also talking about a charity that benefits first responders, military veterans, and stuff like that. So I'm not immune from playing pretend either, but playing pretend is still all right, baby. And if I get to feel a little bit bad, like I'm doing something wrong because I'm going a little too fast, taking those corners a little too sharp and revving it a little too loud on a bike that used to be a police vehicle, well, you know what? I don't care if I'm playing pretend at being a bad boy or not. It still feels good. Playing pretend or not, although it's hard to call myself an outlaw or punk rock or anything like that at the ripe age of 41, there's still something that always feels good about picking up the tools of our fathers and subverting them to fit our own needs and wants. And yeah, outlaw country, gangster rap, punk rock, they're all playing pretend these days, but let's be honest, they were pretty much always playing pretend. Maybe we just believed it a little more when we were kids. Hey, at the end of the day, old Waylon Jennings really was flashing bags of dust down the crapper, and NWA did grow up in Compton, and oh man, we can say that the Sex Pistols probably lived a lot of what they sang about. There comes a point in everybody's life where you either choose to continue down that path, or you just play pretend and drive a little too fast on the weekends every once in a while to relive some of the glory days that really never were. Hey, maybe that's the big secret, huh? That's the big secret behind all of this, is everybody's just kind of pretending. In everything. The Emperor has no clothes. Nobody knows what they're doing. We're all just playing pretend and hoping not that many people notice and waiting for some big secret to be revealed to us at the end. And the secret is, there's no secret at all, man. we're all just playing pretend, and we're all just hoping nobody notices. Maybe there is a secret after all. The secret is everybody's playing pretend and we don't want anybody to notice. And the real thing I've learned, the real key to happiness, is it's not stopping playing pretend and thinking I'm Billy Badass every once in a while. That's not the secret, to stop that and just be exactly who I am without any sort of fun at all. No, the real secret is I stop caring if anybody notices that I'm just playing pretend, having a little bit of fun, yelling a little bit too loud, and being a little bit of an outlaw, but only on the weekends. Because once you stop giving one single shit what everybody else thinks about it, that's when you really get to have a good time. I'm not saying I'm fully there yet. It's a work in progress, but I'm working on it.
And now for something completely different. The first two bikes that caught my eye were definitely, we'll call them bargains as far as used bikes go. For this one, I'm gonna treat myself. This is a 2024 117 cubic inch Harley Davidson Breakout. I feel like the Breakout gets forgotten a lot. I don't know why, because this thing to me just oozes 90s and early 2000s steez, man. And maybe it's coming back around as people kind of re-examine those bikes and start to like the dad bikes a little bit more. This is peak cool dad. This ain't no dad jeans. This ain't no GS. This ain't a dentist bike, okay? This is cool dad bike. This is I'm a lineman dad bike. This is firefighter dad bike. Union electrician, crane operator. This is the dad bike for the dad that's a little rough around the edges and not so refined, and I freaking love it, man. It speaks to me. Where else can you get a 117 cubic inch right off the showroom floor covered in this much chrome? I'm a magpie and I love that shit. No offense to all my dentist dads out there, all my corporate middle management guys who are riding around their BMW GSs. I got nothing but love for you guys. I love a dad jeans bike myself. I love an adventure bike, but something about a 5 o'clock shadow, coming home on the weekend, getting ready to go out and ride with the boys, knock back some shots, drink some beers, smoke those secret cigarettes that the wife doesn't know about at the bar. That's what the Breakout is, and I got love for that dad too. Little known fact about the 117, and only the 117 they put in the Breakout, the exhaust note once it comes down off the fast idle is exactly matched up to Motley Crue's Kickstart My Heart. We're talking about playing pretend being a bad boy on the ex-police motorcycle. Well, this is, it's playing the same song with a different instrument, so let's go out and enjoy it.
The Harley Davidson Breakout isn't the stepdad, it's the dad who stepped up. Yeah, it's stepping up, baby. That's for sure. The Harley Davidson Breakout is the mechanical avatar of a union electrician named Gary who just started dating your mom. His jacket smells like Marlboro Reds. He's got a 5 o'clock shadow, but guess what? He brought you home that new N64 video game and he's treating your mom real nice. Gary might be a little rough around the edges. He might like to showboat. He laughs a little too hard and he drinks a little bit too much, and when that motorcycle pulls up, it rattles the windows of your double wide. But a real man and a good dad, They certainly don't have to be perfect. And this motorcycle isn't perfect either. The rear tire doesn't make it exactly handle well. The seating position isn't exactly the most comfortable thing in the world. The single front disc and big old wheels, man, that ain't exactly what's cool right now with the California boys, but there's just something about it, dude. There's just something honest about it. There's something honest about this motorcycle, even though it's pretending to be a bad boy. It's pretending to do it in an incredibly wholesome way. I love a West Coast club bike as much as the next guy. Big motors, big brakes. Yeah, they look like they mean business. They look like they're halfway ready for the track and definitely ready to carve the canyons. In this new era of function over form, even Harley Davidson took their logo off the brakes of the CVO and stuck Brembos on them. And I'm not saying that those bikes can't be fun. Of course, the West Coast Canyon carvers can be fun, but this bike? This is pure, unadulterated joy. This bike feels like I do, a 41-year-old man trapped in a 12-year-old's body. And I love it, dude. This bike is Monday Night Raw. This bike is Macho Man Randy Savage, Hulkamania, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Baby, there's just something that's so bad and so good about this bike. Pure cheese. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger mowing down faceless bad guys in Commando. This is Stallone in Cobra. Fight for love. Truly and somewhat sadly, in my opinion, when you look across the showroom floor at any Harley Davidson dealership in 2024 and you see what's left out there, the Harley Davidson Breakout, without a doubt, is the last action hero. Ooh, an action it provides. I like that a lot. This thing is a rowdy, boys. Arguably, I saved the best for last. If I could have any bike on the showroom floor right now, it'd probably be this one. It's also the one, since it's 2024 with less than 1,000 miles on it, that is the furthest out of my reach. But as long as we're dreaming, we might as well dream big. The Breakout harkens back to a different time and place. A time and place where having fun on a motorcycle didn't have to say Brembo or Oleans on it. You didn't have to back up the fact that you were having a good time. You just had to look showy, flashy, and be loud while you were doing it. And being able to back up your noise like all them West Coast boys do with their hopped up bikes, there's something to be said for that. There's also a lot to be said for some good old fun that you don't have to back up at all. Fun that speaks for itself without any qualifiers that you can do anything else with it. Fun for fun's sake. As always, huge thanks to the boys and girls up here at Bert's Barracuda for letting me do my thing and put my greasy little dick beaters all over their very nice motorcycles. And if you come up here to Bert's, make sure to tell them old Shade Tree Surgeon sent you. I don't know if you're going to get anything for that, but I sure do like being able to ride all these motorcycles and make these videos. But I also never mind promoting Bert's, because not only does Bert's give great deals, not only do they keep cheap bikes around to get people on two wheels, everybody here is friendly, they're good folks, a lot of the people on staff are my friends, including Bert himself, but they also do a lot of charity work. Bert's Salute to America Foundation is a charity that helps homeless veterans bridge the gap and get a physical address so they can start to collect the VA benefits that they've earned. A lot of people might not know this, but if you don't have a physical address as a veteran, you cannot get any of the assistance that you're due having served your country. And a lot of people fall through the cracks. PTSD is a silent killer. The mental anguish that a lot of veterans face, the inability to get back into society, the inability to lead a normal life without assistance after experience the horrors that they've experienced. I can't even imagine what that's like. And it leads a lot of them down a path where ultimately they can become homeless. And once they're there, the government ain't lifting a finger to do anything for them. Now, I can't change the laws. I can't change how they operate. All we can do is what we're doing right now. Telling you about all the cool stuff Bert is giving away for the veterans here in America to help them bridge the gap, to help them get off the street and get a physical address. He's giving away 130
35 cubic inch road glide that was built by Blockhead, a fishing trip, custom paint jobs, thousands of dollars worth of gift cards to Bert's Barracuda. And also this month, as in you've only got a few days left to grab a ticket before we pull it on the live stream, a Harley Serial 1 e-bike that's given away this month. Now, even if you win the e-bike, you're still entered for everything else and the grand prize. Be a bad person doing good things. Together, we can actually make a difference. That link's down below. Grab yourself a raffle ticket. We'll be giving away a lot of prizes here real soon, live on this channel. Until next time, y'all, keep it weird.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Who will risk it all to end the evil call of Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. They never give up, they never say die, walking tall with banners high. Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.